I'd probably say a handful. Who really likes to work the ball, different flights, different types of shot for different pins. That's by far when I play my best and when I kind of get into my more of a field player, more than a mechanical player. If I have a to-go-to shot in the past has always been like a little choke down cut fade. Yeah. Now I'm as comfortable hitting a draw, so which is very nice. So when I practice, first 20 minutes you work on mechanics, and then after that you start shaping balls, high, low, all kinds of, so you kind of cover the entire library before you go out on the course. But every play is different. Some players, I think probably most of the guys, they like to shape the ball. A lot of the girls, they get one or two stock shots and they kind of stick to those shots. And I think the more you can be creative, especially if you play links courses, use all the 14 clubs what you have to do back for.
Well, I think that's what the new grooves are going to change a little bit. It's going to take away that, I'm going to hit this one shot all day long, or the days it works, I'm going to shoot a good score. Guys and girls are going to have to, they're going to have to learn to hit some different shots, because you miss a ball, you miss a fairway, even the first cut, it makes a big difference, the grooves. Or if it's wet, if you're playing in the morning, it makes a difference. So, the players on tour, both tours, they're going to figure out how to, or remember how to bounce the ball on the greens and do those things, because the days of flying an 8-iron 160, 70 yards out of the rough and having it stop, those are gone. So I'm gonna attempt to move this around a little bit. Kind of my normal shot is a little bit of a draw. See? Reverse. It's the same way. Yeah, we're going to try that one again. There we go.
But even though you change around different shots, your rhythm stays the same.
Yeah, it's all in my setup, and then it's more. I don't do as much back here, but it's more through the ball, how I finish. When I hit a little bit of a fade, I'll obviously I'll line up a little bit to the left, and I feel like I keep my right elbow in on the way down through. There's a little fade. And then a shot that I like to hit, and I've experimented a lot with the length of drivers, and I went and played a 47-inch shaft for about a year and a half. I'm back down to 46. And at 47 inches, it was hard to, when I'm on the end of the shaft, to keep the ball down. And I figured out if like I do with my irons, if I'm trying to hit a knockdown shot, I choke up on it. Well, why do I do that? Well, to get closer to the ball, shorten the swing up, and stiffen up the shaft. And so I started experimenting with choking up about an inch on the driver and turning it. Now I'm playing 46, so turning this into a 45-inch driver, playing a little bit back to my stance, and I was able to keep the ball down.
That's pretty good.
And so that's how I play the game, is by taking advantage of the elements. When it's hard and fast, hit that shot more often. Move the ball around in the wind and be creative.
But you're, 46 inch? Have you always played that long shot?
When I went from, this 40, 3 years ago? 45.
Yeah.
You're 44 and I'm 44 and a half. When I went from persimmon driver to a metal head, and I played some metal drivers, but this was like the first really large-headed driver, and at the time it was probably a 375. Was that kind of the biggest after? The club looked short to me, and it was the same length as my persimmon club, and I thought, but it looked so short. So I asked him to put in a graphite shaft, a little lighter shaft, and go an inch longer. So I went to 45 at that point. And then as the heads have gotten bigger, it's just in experimenting a little bit. I kind of figured out I went to 47, and then when the straight technology came out, it got too heavy. So I shortened up to 46, but all my numbers were still the same or better. So been able to shorten up the driver an inch and maintain the club head speed that I've gained by going longer. And it's embracing the technology and the technology of the straight fit, trying different shafts, and being able to move the club head around in different settings. It makes a big difference. I mean, when you open this up, a couple of grooves or whatever, and open that face up, that ball's going to come out really low. And at the same time, playing on a soft weight golf course, you close it down, and the ball's going to get up in air pretty easily.
See, I almost did the opposite. For me, like when you want to hit it a little bit lower and kind of almost hit it straighter, that's usually how I play my best, just to get the ball in play. You don't necessarily have to bomb it down to try to get to the par 5 and 2, just to get it in a good position. I always used to choke down, and I always seem to get so much straighter, had much more control. So I actually went from a 45 to a 44 and a half, I think it is. And just a little bit of the shortness in the shafts. All of a sudden I could stand there and I had the same feel that having to always choke down. So it's very touch and go with everybody, and everyone's different.
Right.
To how they play and how they pick their shots. And